Listen to me, it is quite commendable that you're here and wanting to learn a part of history that never found its way to our books or our schools. Hence, even though we've grown up in a hyper-literate society, sad news is most of us are never truly educated. We've been indoctrinated. The testament of a person being graded based on how well they retain information and recite that on a piece of paper is that of an indoctrination. Think about it. How much room do schools really leave for imagination? Even if your ideas are great, they're always compared to discoveries of the past. Think about how many people work for others, but only a few, literally only a few, become artists, entrepreneurs, poets, philosophers. I mean, think about it. Thinking was a genuine profession. Most philosophers and scientists were called great thinkers. That's how we remember Karl Marx, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. Thinking was a privilege, but now it is a hidden treasure that only a few find their way to. I'm not surprised in a hyper-literate and overeducated society, people like Andrew Tate are edified and magnified. Why? Because deep down, we're all looking for an out. We are. You might agree, you might disagree. We're all fighting this indoctrination and we idolize people who are able to do it. We love looking at celebrity interviews, don't lie. That's why late night shows have 40 million views, and that's why Call Her Daddy is so famous. And a lot of us also have these motivations to be the one who can be interviewed one day. I have so many friends who say shower time is my time when I'm giving a hypothetical interview on Jimmy Fallon.
We moved to LA. My father gets a job at the Palm restaurant. My uncle Junior works there, who is a Jehovah's Witness, believe it or not. He went from Catholic to Jehovah. So basically, my grandmother wanted us all to switch from Catholic to Jehovah. Meanwhile, we're from Harlem. My father's doing coke. My mother thinks she's Aunt Margaret. She's teasing the hair with a bottle of
This is a manifestation of wanting to break out of the system. Some call it the matrix, others call it corporate. For some of us, it was school, but it is still some kind of indoctrination. Welcome back to LPTV. Let's talk about what I really like to call misplaced history. So by the early 90s, norms had shifted significantly. Now that women were able to smoke publicly, a second issue presented itself. Women found Lucky Strike's signature green packaging unfashionable. Lucky Strikes had already spent a lot of money in this packaging. We're talking thousands and millions of dollars. And so he employed Bernays with $25,000 cash in hand to fix this problem. Bernays, as a part of his extensive strategy, decided to put on a socialite ball benefiting charity. Guess the theme of the event? Green, not just any shade of green, the exact green that was on the packaging of Lucky Strike. Oh, charity, how noble. Bernays persuaded Nausicaa Cox Vanderlip, president of New York Infirmary for Women and Children and wife of a prominent banker, Frank A. Vanderlip, to host a charity event named Green Ball. Now, who was the woman? Why this charity? I mean, really good questions, guys. Narcissa was a leader in the women's suffrage movement and was a co-founder of the New York State League of Famous Women Voters. So obviously, highly respected by women, and these women were targeted extensively by Bernays, especially by Lucky Strikes. Remember the suffrage movement? Because one of the largest target consumer groups in America and all the other parts of the world were these women. The invitations were distributed and every society column in every major newspaper was notified. Once the coverage started, he called a meeting of textile and clothing company heads and said, "Gentlemen, green is going to be the color of the fashion this fall." This was obviously unsurprising to the attendees and they naturally accepted. Honestly, coming really honest, studying about this gave me a bit of a headache, just because I understand how frustrating it is to one day wake up and find out how much of our realities are really orchestrated. Even the feeling associated with colors, even the menial fact people discuss colors of season is to evoke emotions out of us and as a result make us aggressive consumers that no matter where we look, we desire to have it. And if you say, oh, now whatever, this doesn't impact me, I don't like to discuss all of this. Really? Does it not? Have a think. Girls, when was the last time you tried to match your nail colors to the season? And boys, when was the last time you associated blue and darker shades with masculinity? I mean, sure, they might be gormless examples, but they are somewhat true. I mean, wake up. This is something we're all a part of. We're engineered to feel things that we don't understand, and somehow that makes us desensitized to our surroundings. Anyway, that's just something to think about. Moving on. Bernays then organized a Green Fashions Fall luncheon hosted by Onondaga Silk Company. Actually, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. The luncheon featured a green menu, served everything green. A talk was organized titled Green and the Work of Great Artists. An eminent psychologist also spoke on the psychological implications of the color green. The event was a success. Interestingly though, leading up to the event, Vogue's cover sported a woman in a small green dress. The event was a success. Naturally, this was picked up by publications throughout the country. All throughout advertisement campaigns, women were encouraged to keep a slim figure because that's what was considered attractive. And in order to achieve that, they should always reach for cigarettes instead of sweets. Isn't it funny that women who wanted freedom from patriarchal systems in the modern Western society became the biggest target group for the same system? And we see the manifestations of that in other societies as well. Take for example the suffrage movement in England. You see this across many Western societies. I'd like to emphasize my belief that is, if we lived in that time, we too would have fallen prey to such campaigns. You'd say, nah, LP, speak for yourself. I'm not that impressionable. I wouldn't have bought into that. I'm really strong-minded. Really? I think you're just the person who would. When was the last time you'd walk into Sephora and reach for your favorite road glazing milk, or at least wanted to? Why? What if I, a nobody, would put together those same ingredients and labeled it exactly the same? Be honest, would you still have the itch to buy it? Even if I say that these products are 100% identical and that you'd get more quantity for each product for a cheaper price, the truth is that you most likely will not buy my skincare. Let's be real for a second. Having a Rhode or a MAC or Dior is more than just a skincare in our vanity. We know what it does to our ego when we use those products, and we love that feeling. We love to cling on to that feeling. So you're telling me that in that time and in that age, you wouldn't reach for a cigarette when every other woman associated freedom and freedom struggle with cigarettes? You know you want to be the girl who wakes up and applies Rhode, put YSL blush, get a matcha, get the nails matching with the color of the season, and you're telling me that you wouldn't fall prey to a cigarette campaign? I mean, look around. It doesn't take God's wisdom to understand how the world is easily swayed and manipulated. Truth is that you have given your lives to the gods of dopamine, and they're pumping it for you left, right, and center. Pump, pump, pump. It doesn't take a genius to know why I want a Chanel perfume when I can easily get the same perfume for 20 pounds or even less. I apologize for the rant. Moving on. Let me segue into the most pivotal moments in the fashion industry. Fashion fascinated Bernays because he considered it to be an extremely accomplished form of PR. In his book Propaganda in 1928, a milestone in public relations discipline, by the way, Bernays explained how fashion could drive entire communities to cut their hair short or adopt a different style of dress. Oof. Yeah, I mean, even the haircut that you have is a mechanism, is to fit into this imperfect world. If you need some people to hate a haircut, you just need to have a villain played in a very famous movie with that haircut. And there you go, a whole bunch of people would hate it. I mean, think about Hannah Montana haircut. Like, when I was growing up, I had so many people who loved the Hannah Montana haircut. I had every girl in school who had a Hannah Montana haircut, or at least wanted to have a Hannah Montana haircut. That feeling that you and I cling on to of being a pop star or associate ourselves with the famous movie actor is not something new. It's happening and replicated over centuries and decades. And a similar thing happened with Bernays' cigarette campaign. campaign. In that, they didn't stop at influencing women to smoke, but it became much more sinister than that. It promoted as a way to lose weight, and the women were paired against each other based on how they look in an ideal women's size. Women were ashamed, they wouldn't easily get married. I ask you, is that freedom? These men are celebrated as the fighters of women freedom. And if that's true, I know for certain the price of freedom was high, very high, high enough to sell this propaganda to every American woman. Bernays pushed this through Hollywood. Cigarette became an accessory in every woman's fashion. Cigarette represented the strength of women, influence of a woman, a symbol of a modern woman. It worked. Both men and women believed in this, and lung cancer was nothing but an aesthetic, I suppose. All of this to say, coming from the background of public relations, I can tell you, we know more about you than you do yourself. There is a whole lot of human psychology at play. People work hard to study this human psychology and human behavior and patterns just so they can influence people to like a certain product and have a sense of identity through that product and place it in the value category in the society that we live in. So if you think your life and your life decision is in your hand, ultimately perhaps it is, but there are huge chunk of people who study this silently, deliberately, each and every day. You work hard for your money, and they're working hard behind the scenes on how to spend it. So be careful. See you soon in the next video.